And welcome back to part 2 of my Inktober sketchbook tour. Quick explanation of Inktober in case you've forgotten is that every day in October you get a word and you draw something based on the word, and that's what you do. Yeah, now we're gonna start. Day number 11 is disgusting. So this drawing was inspired by a quote by W.C. Fields. I never drink water because of the disgusting things that fish do in it. So I decided to draw 2 fish doing a little bit of BDSM. I would just prefer they do this in not drinking water, you know? Want to filter out the contaminants. Looks like some BDS salmon. Can you eel the love tonight? Should have made them blowfish if you catch my drift. Oh my cod, Becky, look at her tail fin. A lot of puns in this episode. Don't underestimate how many more I'm willing to throw in here. And I drew some farm animals on a slip and slide, and I animated them. You can tell that that chicken is really excited to be on that slip and slide. You can tell that pig is just having a squealy good time. And that cow, wow, just look at all the fun she's having. I made a questionable decision to add some sound effects to this one, and I couldn't find a moo that was long enough, so if you listen, the moo is just horribly distorted and sounds disturbing. There we go. Alrighty, moving on. So I drew a raccoon playing bassoon by the saloon in the dunes. My partner was nice enough to compose this piece for bassoon. He's a professional composer. I will drop a link in the description for his latest piece he composed for bassoon and oboe, so please check it out and support the arts. I drew an armadillo in his little ball rolling off the back of a glyptodon. And if you didn't know, glyptodons are the ancestors of armadillos, and they lived during the Pleistocene era, and they were about the size of a Volkswagen Beetle. So we have Snout Post Weekly, and I drew the cover of this fictitious magazine, and it features a different animal with a really cool snout each week. And on this week's edition of Snout Post Weekly, it features the African giant pouched rat. It says this rat sniffer is the bomb because they have been trained to sniff out explosives, and they can also sniff out tuberculosis in case you're having any respiratory discomfort. They are also cheaper to train than dogs. You could say that training rats instead of dogs in order to save some money is a very rational decision. You could say that this rat's unexpected skill will blow your mind. There is a British claymation series called Wallace and Gromit, and it's a man and his dog. So my partner sat me down and we watched this one where they decided to build a rocket and fly to the moon so that they could eat moon cheese with their crackers. And while we were watching this episode together, my partner got us some crackers and cheese so we could eat crackers and cheese while they ate crackers and cheese. I just matzo really like the way this turned out. Inspired by a quote from Desmond Tutu. So I drew this little flower and there is just rain pouring down on her, but she knows that beyond all of that darkness is a bright, shining sun that will come out eventually. So margays are these small wildcats, and there's one documented case of scientists observing margays imitating the sound of a baby pied tamarin in order to catch him. The margay is hiding in some plant life, and he shouts, "Hello, I am a tamarin!" And a tamarin comes out of the tree and goes, "Hello, I am also a tamarin." And then the margay jumps out, and then in the last panel you can see the margay has the tamarin in his mouth, and the tamarin is like, "I've been duped," because he thought he was talking to another tamarin. So I drew Dizzy Gillespie, and he is one of the best jazz trumpeters around. I made the mistake of trying to color him in and made him look significantly worse than he did before I colored it in. But that's the magic of art, is drawing something and being like, hey, this is good, let's try to make it better, and then doing something that just completely ruins it. And last but not least for this episode is day number 20, which is coral. Now you've heard of coral reefs, but what about coral briefs? They would actually be coralbly painful to wear. For those of you who have stuck around until the end, thank you. You are all superstars in my eyes.